This is a message for Jonathan Leeman. I'm pretty sure you'll watch this, and I want you to hopefully watch to the end. So I'll cool it on the inflammatory language and things of that nature. But it's even though it's for you, Jonathan, I think it's going to be helpful to a lot of people, a lot of your friends, and hopefully some of mine as well. And that's a point that a lot of people reach out to me and they say, well, how could what you're doing edify anybody? How can it build anybody? How can anyone find this helpful? And what's interesting about that question is it's usually people that are either in the guild, they're conference speakers, things like that, who say it, or people that are very close to conference speakers and authors and things of that nature. On the flip side, though, you wouldn't believe the messages that I get in my inbox that talk about how helpful my content actually is, because the truth is, Jonathan, and again, I hope you don't mind if I talk to you directly, even though this has application elsewhere. The truth is that there are legions of regular Joes in the pews, people that read your books, or at least used to, watch your video content, all of that kind of thing. They read 9 Marks, and they feel abandoned by their leadership. People like you. And so those are the people. See, you got to figure out who my audience is in these videos. My audience is regular people, people in the pews, people that feel like they've gone crazy or that they're all alone and all of that kind of thing. My audience typically is not the Big Eva elite, but this video is for you guys. See, here's the tweet that kind of inspired this. Somebody sent this to me. I'm not on Twitter anymore. But Jonathan Leeman says this. He says, one danger of building your platform on critique is that your ministry becomes parasitic. You begin to see errors in places they don't exist because, like a parasite, the survival of your voice depends on, quote unquote, their blood. It's harder to build something, but worth it over time. Now, this is a very, very interesting tweet, and I think I did click on the link that led me to Twitter. I don't have an account anymore, but I was able to see the responses, and very predictably, people were dunking on this tweet all day long. And my take instantly was very similar. Was critical of this tweet. And what I said was, it must be tough, and I do think that this is probably very difficult, Jonathan, for you to sit back and watch people like me, and it's not just me, but it's people like me, how much we're building, how much we're accomplishing, how much we're growing, our families, our businesses, our platforms, whatever you want to call it, and we're not initiated, right? We're unwashed. You think about what's going on in Moscow, Idaho, and that's just another example of people that are building phenomenal things. And Doug Wilson doesn't even have a seminary degree. It's like, so it must be difficult. So you've spent all your life kind of earning this respect, this clout, and then to watch us kind of eat your lunch a little bit, it must be difficult. And the thing is that you gotta say something like this, right, Jonathan? You kind of have to fight back a little bit and say, well, this not, they're doing it the easy way, we're doing it the hard way. You got to come up with something that at least excuses, in some degree, the failure that's happening right now from Big Eva institutions, the shrinking of once massive churches. You think about McLean Bible Church and stuff like that. The finishing of T4G. I mean, they can't get people to come anymore because the reality is that, and what I said was that your tactics, like this, where you're kind of saying, well, you can't be only criticizing, you got to be building up and stuff like that. That's actually kind of true. But the reality is that people can see this tactic for what it is. You're trying to defend something that is indefensible. And so you're going on the attack yourself. And the reality is that the people in the pews, like the regular Joes, the people that are my target audience, they actually stopped caring what you guys think. They stopped caring what you guys think because they feel abandoned by you, Jonathan. And this is the reality. And this is what I get emails like this constantly. They feel like every time they see an evangelical celebrity like yourself, Jonathan, and I don't know that you've done this, but you know of the people that I'm talking about. Every time they see someone in the Washington Post with an op-ed or on CNN or MSNBC or even Fox News to some degree, what they see is their evangelical leaders that they once respected, that they once read their books and stuff like that. What they see is them constantly throwing regular Christians under the bus. And it certainly appears to them that they're doing it to get pats on the backs from the pagans. They'll go on CNN and talk about how evil white Christians are because they voted for Trump. They'll go on MSNBC and talk about how evil white Christians are because they refuse to get the vaccine. And it's just a constant drumbeat from people like you, your friends, Jonathan, that constantly seem to be criticizing and ripping apart regular Christians for the favor of the pagans. And this is something that has been happening for quite some time, but I think that people have been noticing it a lot more lately. And it's no wonder. I mean, you might disagree with some of the details here, Jonathan, but you can't disagree with the main premise. The main premise being that there is a revolution currently happening. Now, I believe this started a long time ago, and I think that what happened on Election Day was so apparent to everybody that people snapped out of it. It woke up a lot of people to the reality of what has happened here. Now, you might disagree with that. You might think that the election was totally legitimate. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. But what you can't disagree with is that the chasm that exists right now in our country between the leftists and the rightists, I guess you could say, the conservatives and the progressives, is never been, and at least in our lifetimes, Jonathan, it's never been more acute than it is right now. And the chasm is widening every single day. And so there's a revolution happening, and then there's also a counter-revolution happening. So the reality is that many people in the pews have absolutely had it with people like you, Jonathan. And again, I'm not saying that this only applies to you, but this is your type of person, the conference speakers, the authors, things like that. People have had it up to here. And so that's why they're turning to the unwashed. They're turning to those who won't throw them under the bus. I won't throw Christians under the bus in front of the pagans. You know, one of the things that I find so interesting about Andrew Torba and with Gab.com is his policy that he refuses to take interviews, to do any kind of media with pagans. He'll only do it with Christian news organizations. And I love that mentality because the reality is people watch every single day another evangelical leader running to the pagans to rip Christians. And he said, I'm not helping you pagans do anything. I'm building my own thing. God bless him. God bless him for that. And that's a good impulse, I think, at least in this time. See, Jonathan, the truth is that you have to do both of these things, right? You have to build a platform that talks about what the encouraging the saints and true doctrines and stuff like that. But you absolutely, especially in this time, but always, this is a Bible imperative. You have to destroy arguments. You have to destroy the ideologies and the worldviews and the propaganda of the pagans. You have to do both. It's not an either or, and it doesn't mean you're becoming parasitic. It's both, and it has to be both. You know, Jonathan, one of the people that responded to me sharing your tweet said this, and I agree with this. He said, I think his premise has some truth to it, and people can err in seeing boogeymen everywhere. However, that is not even close to the truth in the current time with Big Eva, so there's no worries there. And this is something else that we've noticed, too. Regular people in the pews have noticed this for, I think, a long time, but it's really come, again, to a head these days, is that, you know, your problem isn't so much that you say untrue things, although you guys do say a lot of untrue things as well, especially with regards to race, especially with regards to sexuality. You know, all the hot button issues of our day, you say a lot of wrong things when it comes to those issues. But you often say a lot of true things, and this is one of those things, Jonathan. This is a true thing. You can't build a platform primarily on critique only, because there's a danger there. There's a danger that you're going to start seeing heretics all over the place and things like that. Of course, you're right about that. But the problem is you and people like you, Jonathan, will often say true things that have no basis in our current reality. Like they're yesterday's battles. They're a battle that could exist sometime in the future. John Piper did the same thing with his vaccine article, right? I really want to encourage all those people that are being pressured to not get the vaccine. And it's like, what he said was actually decent in there. Yeah, you know, if you're not getting the vaccine due to peer pressure, that's a stupid reason not to get it. But in our time, when people are being fired for not getting the vaccine, when people are being threatened for not getting the vaccine, I talked to a brother, my goodness gracious, it just broke my heart. He was telling me that he couldn't go to his grandson's birthday party because he wasn't vaccinated, and his family has now divided over this. All the pressure in our culture today is to get the vaccine against your will. But John Piper figured out a way to write an article about the exact opposite of that. And this is something that is endemic to your friends, Jonathan. They're always talking big and bad about issues that do not exist. And it's I don't even know what it is. It's just so, it's perverted is what it is. It's inverting reality, and we're sick of it. We're absolutely sick of it. And so, Jonathan, these are the things that people are attracted or leaving, watching your videos and listening to your podcasts and reading your books and stuff like that. It's not personal, Jonathan. We don't hate you personally, but the thing is, we've seen a pattern with you and your buddies consistently refusing to do anything for the people of God in our time right now. I had a lot of strong words for you about your article, Contra to John MacArthur. Honestly, Jonathan, I can't believe you wrote that article. Even to this day, I can't believe it. And it's just, another example of this. People feel abandoned by you, Jonathan, and it's not abandoned because you're pursuing the truth. It's abandoned because you and your friends are pursuing all kinds of errors to go along and get along with pagans. And that's a sad reality. And so it's not that, we're doing it the easy way. Jonathan, let's just stop. Let's just stop with that. You know how much we're actually building. You know how much we're actually building people up. I mean, I know you're not on Gab.com. You should come to Gab.com. You would see such encouraging things about Christians, finding Christians, hiring Christians, building businesses, and establishing economies within themselves and things like that. There's just so much hard work. People are building towns right now, Jonathan. Doug Wilson is building a town. Do you know how many people right now are seeing what Doug did there and emulating that in other towns? There's going to be Christian towns, Jonathan. That's the kind of building that we're doing. But the thing is, we don't go halfway. We don't obey Christ halfway. Yes, we are telling people what we're for. My channel does this all the time. We're telling people what we're for, but we understand, though, that what's required there as well is being against the evil that we see. These are wicked days, Jonathan, and you know that. So if somebody doesn't know that you're against certain things, that's a big problem. And so I know it's easy to try to dunk and say, well, you're just building a platform on critique, Jonathan. We both know that's not true. That's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing. But we are not scared to critique where it's necessary. See, that's the difference. We're not scared to do it, and we know we have to do it, and so we will. Look, Jonathan, most of us don't like confrontation. We talk amongst ourselves. By the way, guys, this should scare you. We're starting to get organized now. I mean, before, it was all kind of haphazard, and I did a video whenever I wanted to. I didn't really have any connection with anybody else. But the thing is, we're all coordinating now. We've got comm boxes and chat boxes where we talk amongst ourselves about our strategies and things like that. We're starting to organize, Jonathan. But the thing is, the reality is that so many people are seeing through the Big Eva game right now. And we are gaining ground there, and we're going to continue to gain ground there. And there's really nothing you can do to stop that. I mean, you can try this kind of stuff. Like I said, there's some truth here, so maybe you'll trick some people. But the thing is, most of us can see the reality of what's happened. If you want to know why T4G is being shut down and why nobody engages with Gospel Coalition content online, and why someone like me who has less than 20,000 subscribers on YouTube gets way more engagement than Gospel Coalition, if you want to understand why that is, it's because the truth is that what people don't like is the parasitic nature of Gospel Coalition. And it's actually ironic. This tweet's actually a little bit ironic because what we don't like about T4G and, quite frankly, 9 Marks and Gospel Coalition and stuff like that is the parasitic nature of those ministries, how they exist seemingly to disparage white people, the history and the current. And it's unnecessarily too. It's like you're not even using correct judgment. You're just deciding to team up with pagan ideologies to rip white people where they don't deserve to be ripped. And so people are sick of that. So there's an irony in this tweet as well. It's a little bit of projecting as well. Anyway, bottom line is this. I was in a comm box, and sorry for the scattered nature of this. I had a lot on my mind here. But I was in a comm box with someone who told me well, not just me, but all of us, that somebody close to 9Marks, Jonathan, said that there was a bit of a cleaning house going on in 9Marks, trying to get rid of some of the CRT stuff and things like that. And I told him I didn't believe that. Because here's the thing, Jonathan, if you were really doing that and getting rid of the anti-white hatred that exists so much amongst your friends, if you were actually doing that, then you ought to come out strong against it. You need to come out strong, and you need to come out and you need to name names, and you need to be pointed, and you need to start critiquing that kind of stuff, because it needs to be critiqued. It's the doctrine of demons. It's the doctrine of demons. And so you need to come out hard against it, because it's the air we breathe right now. And so as a Christian, you need to be known for being against pagan ideologies, including critical race theory and Marxism and socialism and all that kind of stuff. You must, at this time, be known for being against that. And so I hope it's true. I don't believe that it's true, Jonathan. I don't. I hope it's true that you guys are cleaning house, because you guys could actually be a powerful ally were you to actually come out hard against this. Now, it might take a while to get people to trust you again, and understandably so. I'm not sure if I could ever trust you again. But the point is that, regardless of whether or not I trust you, you should do it, because it's the right thing to do. Anyway, sorry for being a little scattered towards the end. There was a couple points that I might have missed, but I hope you found this helpful, Jonathan, and all of you Big Eva people that I criticize on this channel regularly, and I'm not sorry for it. I hope that you find this helpful. It's not that they think I'm more eloquent than you. It's not that they think that I'm more engaging than you. It's not that they just enjoy critiques. A lot of people that watch my show, they don't like to fight. We don't like to fight, but we're willing to fight, and we're going to fight if necessary. And so it's not that. It's that they don't feel like you've got their backs. It's like they feel like you guys have more of the pagans' backs than ours. I hope you found this helpful. God bless.